you.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another review here on Pez of the Mind. Today, we're going to take a look at Season 1 of the popular, semi-popular TV and underrated, which we'll get to, TV series, Star Trek Enterprise, or as it was known in the first season, just Enterprise. If I can get it. Yeah, there we go. So, with me is Chris the Ball.
Hello.
Yeah, so Enterprise was, of course, the fifth television series of the Star Trek franchise. Following Star Trek, Star Trek The Next Generation, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and Star Trek Voyager.
It's set before all of them.
Indeed, it's a prequel series set 100 years before the adventures of Captain Kirk from the first Star Trek series.
Yep.
And the show originally aired in 2001, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably.
Yes, 2001. The whole show ran from 01 to 05. This season ran for the 01-02 year. Or just 01, depending on how they aired them, I guess. I'm not sure. It aired on the My9 UPN network. They were trying to launch as the Paramount Network, or United Paramount Network, UPN. This was supposed to be the flagship show of the net, or I should say Voyager before this was the original Star Trek show on that network, and then this was supposed to keep it running, but unfortunately after 4 seasons, Enterprise was canceled. But we're going to basically, of course, the next few months, once a month, we're going to talk about a season of Enterprise. So this is going to be season 1.
Yep. And I will say, as I've mentioned in the past when I suggested doing this, I really like this season. I really like Enterprise.
Yeah, I was surprised at how much I really liked it. I didn't think I was going to like it that much, but it's been really good so far. I really enjoyed it. For those of you that aren't aware, like I said, it is a prequel series 100 years before Captain Kirk's crew. And Captain Jonathan Archer, played by Scott Bakula, is leading the first Warp 5 capable starship built by humans, the NX-01 Enterprise. And they are effectively the first ship to go beyond the few systems that are near Earth to really explore deeper space. Captain Archer leads the crew along with First Officer T'Pol, who is assigned by the Vulcan High Command to effectively supervise the humans' first foray into space. Other relevant officers include the Chief Engineer, and who is also the third-ranking officer, Commander Charles Trip Tucker III. Also includes the Armory Officer. I don't remember what Malcolm's rank is, but Malcolm Reed. Is he a lieutenant, I think?
He might be.
Yeah. Also, our communications officer, Hoshi Sato, and the ensign in charge of the helm. Oh, I forgot his name. Crap. I forgot the helmsman's name.
I thought you had the web page up because I saw you type and the screen go blue. So I thought,
Well, that's true. I could do that too. I could do that too. Let's see. Where is cast? Where is it? Oh. You're not telling me anything. Useless website. You failed me, Wikipedia. Don't fail me, then.
Okay, I'll look at the episodes.
Travis Mayweather.
There you go, Travis.
Ensign Travis Mayweather, played by Anthony Montgomery. Sorry. I can't remember that character's name. Travis. They usually just call him Travis. But yeah, they are the main crew, and also Dr. Phlox.
Is it worse that I had that written down? I just didn't say anything because it's in one of the episodes I was going to talk about.
Fair enough. But yeah, so the crew of the first Warp 5 capable ship, and they go out to explore the galaxy and you know, The whole, as Evergaga put it, to explore strange new worlds, seek out new life and new civilizations, and boldly go
Yep.
where no one's gone before.
Yep.
That's where that came from. So it's really interesting watching this series because it being a prequel series, you do see a lot of setup for things that happen in later series. First contact with some alien races that we know a lot of already from those series that take place later. A lot of connections to things we didn't know about. It's really a rather interesting series to see. Of course, this does lead to the possibility of plot holes and slight continuity hiccups, of which there are several. But overall, it's really good. So
To be fair, every Star Trek season has plot holes and continuity issues.
this is true. So there are a total of 26 episodes in the first season here. So did you want to just talk about our favorite episodes, or
Yeah, we can talk about the series. Not my favorite, but one episode I have to go with, and I think it was this one, Cold Front.
mm,
Cute Jim looking to see which episode that is. If it's the one I'm thinking of, it should be the one that introduces probably the most important part of this series, the time
yeah,
travel stuff.
yes, the that is when we revealed crewman Daniels reveals that he's actually a member of the of effectively the future Starfleet equivalent organization that's in charge of maintaining temporal order, and that he is dealing with the effects of an ongoing temporal Cold War.
Yep, which I will say, in my opinion, that was one of the most important things to do for this show.
Oh, definitely, yeah,
Because A, any plot holes you can explain by the fact they've done time travel shit, it's going to mess with how people react and what happens.
that is true.
Boom. But the second thing is, with it being a prequel series, everyone would be like, who cares? We all know how this works out. There's no risks here. Like, oh, these ones are going to invade the universe. Who cares? Because when we get to Star Trek, we haven't invaded, so we know for a fact this race wouldn't be the most dominant thing, or this one won't win. You introduce time travel from beyond all the current series is,
And nothing is
and
assured.
you instantly have a villain where you're like, oh, these could actually end them. So it creates a threat and removes the element of we know we're watching a prequel. We know they're gonna suffer. We know they're gonna win.
Yeah, which was good.
Which I argue that was needed. That was really needed.
Yeah.
But how about you, Jim? Which episode? How about an episode you wanted to talk about?
That one was really good. I particularly liked when they introduced Daniels because if you anybody like me plays Star Trek Online, the recent story arc they're working in is the temporal Cold War. And so this is filling in a lot of backstory to help me understand what's been going on in the game that I was kind of introduced to there. So that's been really helpful. It was referenced at forthcoming in some of the next upcoming story missions. Daniels will be returning. I think they got his actor back to do the voice.
Nice.
So they're doing a lot of cool stuff like that. There's things where you get to time travel and you see the effects of time and adjusting this and that and explanations for a lot of things that happen here. So it's a lot of really cool finally seeing the other half of what's going on so I can really fill a lot of those details in. So definitely Cold Front was a great episode. What else? I did like how they made sure that one of the things that's always important about Star Trek is showing a lot of the well, there's an episode here where Archer goes out and mention, there until somebody writes a list of instructions of what we are and are not supposed to do out here. Until somebody writes some kind of directive to tell us this, I have to, keep an objective mind as a captain and make these decisions with the interest of everybody involved in mind. I can't just go willy nilly imposing human values and everything else on other races, and I have to be aware of that. Of course, something that would lead to the Prime Directive down the line. And I thought the fact they showed ethical decisions where he had to come to this conclusion after earlier instances where he didn't do that, I thought was good building. Like there's the earlier episode, it's the one, let's see, the episode Civilization, episode 9, where they find a planet developed not very far, but at basic levels of, they have houses and things like that. Say what on Earth would be equivalent to like not medieval times, a little bit before that. They've got houses. They do like alchemy and things like that. I don't know what you would call that age. Bronze Age. Bronze Age.
The
What about
Dragon Age.
no. I was thinking like Bronze Age. They're pre-warp, but Captain Archer makes a decision, despite T'Pol's advice, that Vulcan policy is to wait until developing peoples have discovered warp travel before introducing them to the interstellar community. He decides to send his people down anyway, I'll bet in disguise as the local race. And they end up, and he makes a decision, and it works out because they end up discovering that another alien is already there, and that the illegal smuggling operation he's running is poisoning the local water supply and causing a disease. But and the fact that the first few times he's faced with this, Archer makes the decision, oh, we're humans, we're not going to have all these stupid Vulcan rules. We're going to go down and we're going to meet these people and do cool things. And then later on, when he meets the episode, when they go to the episode, where is it? It's here somewhere. Come on, where is it? I can't find it. Sorry.
That's fine. Yeah, one thing I love about this series is, unlike other Star Trek series, is because it's meant to be the first, you see stuff go wrong, not because, oh, they've been attacked and they've damaged the ship in this way, where it's really plot convenient. You see, like, the weapons malfunction because they haven't used them before. Or you see aliens trick them or damage them or something because they've never interacted with them before. So they don't know how to go about these races. And that's cool. It allows a lot better storytelling in some ways. And it
Yeah,
bleeds the old Star Trek of Kirk with the new Star Trek that came after him to create a new, like a hybrid of both. I feel really does work.
yeah. They established that early on by using a familiar race, by having a Klingon crash on Earth, and that being the launch, the shakedown mission of the Enterprise to deliver this Klingon back to Kronos. And and one of the other things is the fact that they have Hoshi, the character of Hoshi Sato, trying to learn the languages of all these peoples because they really haven't perfected the universal translator yet. It works to an extent that it's helpful a lot of times, but there's a lot of instances where she still has to manually translate for these people, and it's the struggle of being able to how communication with these new races is such a problem. And I thought that was cool that they did all that as well.
Which, that in itself lends itself to what you were trying to look for. That was a moral decision by Archer. Because the Vulcans wanted to let the Klingon die, then take him back
Yeah.
when it was meant to, and he's like, "We're not going to let him die." And they're like, "But it's part of his race that he dies with pride." And as they discover, he wasn't going to die with pride.
Yeah, he would. It would have been an incredibly dishonorable death, getting shot in the back.
Yeah, and when he does it, and the Klingon's grateful, and eventually at a certain point, it comes in later on when they meet the Klingons, like, "This is Captain Archer who once spoke to your and they back down." I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah. And then they just set up a lot of that backstory stuff. And the episode I was thinking of is later on in episode 13, Dear Doctor. After that instance on that planet wasn't the first time that he did this. There were other earlier episodes where this sort of thing happened, where he's just kind of gone roughshod. But then in Dear Doctor, they arrive at a planet where there's a virus affecting the race there, the Valakians, and Dr. Phlox is tasked with finding a cure. And what they discover is that there's actually two humanoid races on this planet, the Valakians and another race whose name is not mentioned in the little book here. Uh, and effectively, one of them is far more evolved and developed. The other one can, enough that they have speech and things, but they're more a more primitive people. And Dr. Phlox determines that this people could have the chance to evolve and they could become the dominant people on Earth. And the Valakians, but if he cures the Valakians, that won't happen, and he'd be dooming these people to forever be a second-class race on this planet if they're even able to evolve at all. And so there was a very moral decision where Dr. Phlox, thoroughly objected to, despite the fact that he could find a cure for this disease, he objected to treating it because it would harm another race. And that's where Archer finally realized there's going to be ethical decisions and things like this that aren't so cut and dry easy. And as the first captain to deal with this, he's got to be able to make these decisions, and he's got to be more careful with what he does, because what he does will have repercussions for years, decades, if not centuries to come.
Yeah, and some of his moral decisions also stem from helping out the races in ways that really do genuinely help. Like the episode, and this isn't written down on one of my episodes, the one with the underside. and it was the people with the white paint, and they'd come to the planet and they feared humans because of the humans dropped nuclear waste on them, but they didn't. And he teaches the girl to learn about it. He's like, look, okay, we will take you back, but look, you want to stay on your planet? We get this. Go to the other side. That side's covered in nuclear shit.
Yeah, that was Terra Nova, episode 6.
Yeah.
And that was a really good episode. I enjoyed that. The premise of that one, for those wondering, being that it was one of the first Earth colonies, but at the time that it was developed, it took 9 years to get there at the speeds that human ships were capable of. And they lost contact with the colony, and nobody wanted to spend 9 years going to find out what happened, 9 years each way. So inevitably, Enterprise, finally being fast enough to go over there, discovered that a meteorite hit the planet and caused radiation that poisoned most of the colonists, except for the young children who were able to survive by going into the caves, and they had flourished into a society down there. But under the belief that an alternate human faction who wanted to send additional colonists to this planet when the Terra Novans who were there objected, and the last thing that the young children who were now the elders of this colony remembered was blaming humans for the death of everybody in the colony. So they believed that they were a different race and that humans had attacked their people. So Archer had to explain to the elder woman, who was the daughter of one of the original colonists, this is what happened.
And she started to remember when she saw the photo of her.
Yeah, I have seen back. I am Bernadette. I am the daughter of this woman.
But the second episode that's on my list of I only wrote down my 3 favorite, but the second one that's on my list, number 2, because obviously I've left my favorite to last. But
yes,
the second one, which I thought was really great, is Detained. And the reason I thought that was great is one thing Star Trek always does, like I've mentioned in the past, that the episodes I always enjoy is when they touch on stuff that's very modern, but go about in a futuristic way. That's always the best sci-fi, where you can tell stories that resonate with today's times. Then this series was after 9/11, and one thing that this episode's about is they go to a detainment facility and they find out not all of a particular race is a terrorist. Some of them are just innocent, like there's a little innocent little girl and an innocent dad, and his wife's been detained in another place, and they're just treating him like scum. And he's like, this shouldn't happen. And he even has prejudice towards him at first, which is a great. And in my opinion, it was needed because at the time, like people like, oh, all Muslims are terrorists, and the modern one, it's like they're not.
Yeah,
And
the creators even went so far to name the race the Sulaban to have a phonetic similarity to Taliban.
yep, and I'm like, it works on so many levels. That episode though, just because it's a message that needed to be done. Other shows, like you may have seen us review wrestling, they tried to do this message of don't blame them all. Instantly turned the person heel and made him act like a terrorist because reasons. This one
And then his
did
most
it.
memorable moment was when 29 other men threw him out of a battle royal.
I thought his most memorable moment would be abducting people with his race and being the last rided through the stage to die.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
But basically, what I was on about is the episode was so personal, so well done, and you actually got a sense of, and you saw all the sides. You saw the Sullivan, who was racist towards humans because of how they were treated. You saw the humans that were racist towards Sullivans because of what's happened to them, and you saw the neutral people who were like, we just want to live our lives, come on. And the other side of can't we all get along? And
Yeah.
it was just really well done. I like
and,
that. So,
and the Tandarians who put them into camp whose feeling was, look, we only did this because we were trying to protect you, because when the Suleiman cabal, the bad terrorist faction, started attacking people, you know, and the Suleiman who were living out were getting murdered by, for no reason, even though they were innocent, because of the fact that they were Suleimans. We put them here to protect them from everybody because, what do you say, like a dozen Suleiman died in like the first day or two after the cabal started attacking, so we didn't want any more innocent Suleiman tonight, which is why we put them in here to protect them from everybody outside.
yeah, assuming that was really his reason, because let's face it, the guy in charge was really a dick, and they
He
were really
was.
mistreating him.
He was.
So that gets the sense of it's for their own good, but it really wasn't.
Yeah. And I don't
Like
remember.
when
I
he
don't.
freed them, he's like, "Oh my god, do you have any idea what you've done?"
Yeah. You sent to die, Captain.
Yep.
And there's actually, I'm trying to remember who, I want to see, because I know the actor that played that dude that was a leader of that people, but I don't know his name.
I know that dude, but I don't know him.
I recognize the actor and I recognize his acting. I just don't remember the actor's name. That's what's throwing me off. I'm just trying to see if I can find. Oh, it's Dean Stockwell as Colonel Grot.
It was.
He's been in a variety. What do I know? I know him from something. Oh, he was on Battlestar Galactica for a long time. Okay, but that's not what I know him from. What do I know him from?
This.
No, he's the voice of Tim Drake in Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. Um, that's not what I know him from. Obviously, I know his face or something. I don't remember what the hell it is.
That's fine. But yeah, like I said, I just thought
Anyway.
that was a great episode.
Yeah, that was a really good episode. You are absolutely right. I did. That was good to again to be. And that's one thing Star Trek has always done is be able to touch on these kind of issues in a futuristic way, so people can see them more objectively from outside of the real world perspective. That's
Yeah,
always been something they've been good at.
it's like I said, like the original Star Treks and even Next Gen and stuff. In order, like proper sci-fi, is stuff that makes you think about your modern life, even in the future. Like it can tell you something in the future that you're like, oh, that resonates with something today.
Oh yeah,
When people are just like, ah, fuck it, it's the future, let's just shoot stuff.
yeah,
Unless you make it like an action adventure, it doesn't really work. Like
yeah.
even as relatively different as it is to Star Trek, Star Wars, which wasn't meant to be a sci-fi, it was meant to be a fantasy and a science fiction background. He took all the character tropes from legends, like the man with the beard and stuff like that. Therefore, it feels timeless. Whereas if it had just been like random people versus random enemies in space, you're not going to give a crap.
No, not really.
And like I said, that's what Star Trek normally does. It makes it. I always like it when they do that, and I like you could tell this was written after 9/11 for some of the stuff, but at the same time they didn't go as heavy-heartedly with it as
Yeah,
some people do. Even their uniforms are so prototype though, with like the fucking overalls. I love those uniforms.
yeah. Those are really cool. I like those. It's the kind of thing where it's a uniform, but it's not as as fancy as things in the future. It's just it's halfway between the over spacesuits and jumpsuits that astronauts of our day wear, and halfway between that and the kind of Starfleet tunics that we're used to from Kirk's time.
Yeah, it is. It's like an overall to do your job, and that's all it needs to do.
Yeah,
Like there's no federation at this time either, so there's no
no,
stuff like that. And I like that stuff.
yeah, that was really good.
But is there another episode you had?
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot. One thing I did really like on two episodes that tied together was like the episodes involving the Andorians, because that's a race that weren't really heavily talked about or focused on until this series. The first one being the Andorian incident, episode 7, in which the crew visits the Pagem Vulcan monastery in order to basically because Archer is being trying to be friendly to their Vulcan allies. That we'll stop by, and we'll visit your culture. We'll, to Paul, we'll try to enjoy your culture, but they go down only to find out that Andorians have taken the place over because they believe that there's a listening station in the monastery. And they've, and the monks explain the Andorians show up every once in a while and suspect us of this, but they leave when they don't find anything. But your ship showing up just made it look 1,000 times more suspicious there's something here. So now they're not leaving. And I thought it was really cool that, they go through all of this, but at the end of this, it turns out there actually is a fucking listening station under the monastery. And Archer's like, really? Really?
To be fair though, your ship just made this worse was just an excuse because they were already there and already held up the place when they got there because you had to see them. It's like, and they go round and find them.
Yeah, but as he pointed out, the Andorians had done that before. They had come over and attacked the monks and killed them at gunpoint before. It was just normally they would do that until they searched the place and then didn't find anything and left. But in this case, they weren't going to just leave because they thought that the Enterprise was resupplying the listening post.
He was, but as the Enterprise pointed out with the same episode, that was the Vulcans using bullcrap because they were trying to excuse it as, well, to be fair, we've done this for so many years. You're the ones messing this up.
True.
And
they don't
like,
want to, yeah.
And it's like,
That's
no, the older, they're going to keep coming. They're going to keep being suspicious because you are genuinely doing this.
Yeah, that was one of the things. I like the fact that they, when we've seen Spock and everything in the past, the Vulcans have always seemed like the ultimate peaceful, neutral race. And the fact they went back to the early days of the show, no, the Vulcans are kind of assholes. Showing that they're not exactly perfect.
Oh, to be fair, the Vulcans in the original were really dickish,
Were
and they
they?
have been in later series too. It's just Spock, because he was only half Vulcan, was nice.
Yeah. But I like that they met the Andorians there when they find out that there is a listening post. Archer lets the Andorians take the scanned proof vids. The Vulcans violated your treaty. Your people should know about this. And the Andorian, who was played by Jeffrey Combs, who plays no less than 3 different races in this first season, which is awesome. I love that guy. He's best known as Wayoon, the Vorta from Deep Space Nine, but they brought him back here as this Andorian dude. And then they run into the Andorians later on when they're supposedly going to visit a mining colony, but they get attacked by this outlying group on this planet, and Archer and Paul get taken hostage, and the Andorians show up and offer to help break him out because the Jeffrey Combs Andorian character says, I can't sleep because I hate being indebted to you.
Yep.
And they help them break it out. They it's cool because anybody who like me who knows future Star Trek knows the Andorians are one of the founding members of the Federation. So this literally was the Andorians and the humans steadily becoming friends, and that's what's awesome.
Yep.
And so we see that. And of course, seeing Jeffrey Combs in that role was a lot of fun. So I did like meeting the Andorians and getting to explore that race a little bit.
And my all-time favorite in season 1 has to go to Shuttlepod 1,
That was really good.
the bottle episode.
The good bottle episode.
Yep. But the bottle episode, which is funny because, as people know, the term bottle episode comes from Star Trek anyway. No, that is a fact. But yeah,
Okay.
it comes from ship in a bottle, which was the first real example of a bottle episode.
Okay.
And then people just started to name more bottle episodes, which, yeah, it's a bot, but that's neither here nor there. It's basically Trip and Malcolm in a shuttle together for the entire episode.
Yeah, except
And
for like
this is
2 brief times when they cut back to the Enterprise, very briefly.
Yeah. Basically, the whole episode's those two bonding. You get to find out a little bit more about Trip, but the best part is you get to find out more about Malcolm, who's been really closed off to the point in another previous episode they couldn't even figure out what the hell his favorite food was. Like his parents knew, he's that closed off.
His parents didn't even know he was in fucking Starfleet.
Whereas this one, you get a hell of a lot more information about him, find out more about how he thinks and how he operates. And that's cool because him and Trip had great chemistry. Like they did stuff in another episode together near the end. But this episode was just really great, and it was just wonderful seeing them like drinking and having fun and waiting for their final moments. I really like this episode, and it's fun because Trip's really optimistic, but Malcolm's more of a realist, so that just really balanced it out. Yeah. And I say realist because yes, and as he pointed out, Trip does do the thing all optimists do, where they accuse all realists of being pessimists. But no, because he doesn't assume everything's going to go wrong. He's just facing the reality of the situation he's in. He's not making it worse.
Yeah.
But like I said, I really liked that episode. I thought it was a great bottle episode. And bottle episodes, when they're done right, like I mentioned to you, can be really fun because you get great character development. Especially in Star Trek when they do them, you normally get great character development. Ironically, more character development in them than you do the action set ones, so people tend to love. So
yeah, definitely.
Shuttlepod 1.
That was really good. I did enjoy that episode quite a bit.
Nice. Which was your favorite this season?
It's hard to say. I liked a lot of the episodes, but if I had to pick one that I like the most of all the episodes, probably I don't know.
Fair enough.
Honestly, if I had to pick one, it's probably the finale episode, Shockwave Part 1. I'm going to be honest.
Nice.
I really enjoyed that, where they really kicked up the action. There was an unexpected event. some of that the time travel storyline kicks back in, and it really is a great cliffhanger to end the season on. I really did like that episode.
It is,
Um,
with just the destruction. That's the one I've mentioned to you before now. When you had the cliffhanger into the season, just see all the destruction around it and no way out, and you're like, "Hold, what the fuck's gonna happen?"
yeah, it's like,
It's
oh
one of my
shit.
favorite. It's one of, if not my favorite, cliffhangers ender of a season in Star Trek.
It is really good. Yeah, I'm anxious to see how they resolve it.
But yeah, Enterprise was really good all the way through.
Oh,
I
totally.
thought.
Yeah, and I also like a lot of
I liked I like just exploring all the different races and even some new or some less seen, like the episode where they go onto the planet with the shape shifting race that can turn into a tree or turn into a beautiful woman because that's what he wants to see.
yeah the
Uh,
Rogue Planet.
yeah, and those races are actually being endangered because they're being hunted by Hulks from Angel. No, literally, you know the main hunter.
Yeah.
He was a famous vampire hunter in the TV show Angel,
Ah.
in which at one point he ends up managing to be brought forward in time to the future and trying to kill Angel. He even kidnaps Angel's son, takes him to a parallel universe, makes him grow up to hate Angel, then come back for the sole purpose of getting himself killed with an ice pick to the neck so the son will kill the father. He fucking hates Angel. That's how much
Okay
he
then.
hates him. That's how much he hates him at that point.
Clearly.
Because Angel and Darla, during their heyday, murdered his family and his whole village, and he's just out for revenge.
Okay then.
He just
Is that
hates him that
is
much.
that yeah? Wasn't that also the Wolverine storyline? Didn't his son come back and try to kill him or something?
And sort of, but like I said, that was just brilliant. Eventually, Connor gets over it and stuff. But I
Yeah.
love that guy's voice, that deep, yeah,
Yeah.
voice as he does. It's just a wonderful voice. I want to hear him read audiobooks.
That would be cool. I like that. Yeah, there's a lot of great episodes here. And like I said again, for example, the episode Unexpected 5, where we see the Ceruleans were the ones who developed holodeck technology, and that's where everybody else got it. That was pretty cool to see. Um,
Yep.
and now that's also how the Klingons got their cloaking technology. They modified it. Um,
And yeah, and you also get to see in near the end of the season, you get to see for the first time, you hear Captain Archer go, Captain's personal log, and starts to record stuff down. Which, when you realize later on, he's going to realize the importance of captains keeping these logs, and that's going to drive Star Trek.
oh, definitely, yeah. And he do all, and he definitely he does. And another one was the fact that we learned very early on that humans invented the transporter, but that up at this point it never really been used for humans, which gives them an excuse to have it for emergencies, but not use it all the time.
And a lot of the crew are fearful of entering onto it because they don't know what the hell's going to happen to them.
Yeah, your molecules let them scramble all over space. You don't want to do that.
Yeah, but I like that. Some people don't like this series, and I can understand why. It's not
Yeah.
as Star Trek heavy, for lack of a better term, as later series is. But I feel it's Star Trek enough while being accessible to everyone that it's just a wonderful series.
Yeah.
It got a great balance between what was Star Trek pre for both times and modern shows.
Oh, totally.
To the point this still holds up when you're watching it now. It just still holds up. It's great. And as I mentioned, Archer may be my favorite captain of any of the Enterprises because he's just the most human.
He is. He really is, and that's what they're like. Well, I just really like this guy.
Yeah, I just like him, and he really is really likable. He's
That's
having
that's
fun with
that's the
his
Scott
crew.
Bakula's acting, though. I mean, he's just that likable of a guy.
He is, but also the character too. And it's just wonderful. Like the scene where they're sat down with Trip, and he's like, "Yeah, sorry, I could only take one of you to the convention. It's not going to be you." He's like, "Okay, yeah, you probably wouldn't like it anyway. It's just going to be showing off that latest technology with their new warp drives." And he starts going through it, and you're thinking, "What? No, what?" And you just see him do this like shit-eating grin, and you're like, I see what's happening here." And he constantly makes jokes, and like at the end of the series, you see T'Pol and him grow together. Like they're
Yeah,
learning to accept each other. Because I love T'Pol, she's awesome,
she's
but
great.
his chemistry with everyone is just brilliant.
Yeah, the chemistry of all the characters is really great. And I like that we have the very disparate characters. Um, like I said, we have Archer, who's the affable captain who's trying to keep everyone together. To Paul, the serious, logical one who tries to keep everybody in line and order and make sure that things are running. There's Trip Duggar, who is the fun-loving engineer who knows his stuff, but is willing to be that sarcastic, angry dude. To be that guy that speaks out. Malcolm Reed, the stalwart security guy who is serious and focused on the weapons and has to learn how to have fun and stuff like that. And Hoshi, the young communications officer who's not so sure in her abilities and feeling overwhelmed, that has to on a few occasions come to realize that she does have the skills needed and she can be more than she is, especially in the episode where they are. The episode where they had that there's a web creature ends up in their cargo bay, an alien ship dropped it on them accidentally, and it's like it grabs the captain and Tucker and a couple other random officers, and Hoshi has to figure out how to communicate with it to get it free. And she and T'Pol have some bonding moments as the two women on the ship, where T'Pol says, you know, yes, Lieutenant, I'm harsh on you, but I am doing that because I know you can meet a higher standard than most of the crew, and that's why I hold you to it, because I know you can do it. And there was that great bonding moment between them where she realized Paul wasn't just being a bitch to her; she was doing it because she knew Hoshi could be better.
Yeah, because the Vulcans are extremely logical.
Yeah,
Like I loved like the last episode, the one you'd mentioned,
yeah,
after the tragic accident that gets reset, when she's in the doctor's bay and she's like, I don't understand it. His emotions just going from this one to this one to this one to this one. He's acting completely erratic, and the doctor's like, to be Vulcan. Like she just doesn't get it because she doesn't have the emotions.
yeah. That's another great characters. We have that. We have so we have Hoshi who's trying to the young and coming to grips with their skills. We have Ensign Mayweather, who is formerly grew up on board a cargo ship with his parents, so he's always been in space and knows he has a lot of knowledge of a lot of little basically a lot of how certain aspects of space work that others don't because they just haven't been there. He's always been in space and knows, okay, these are the trade routes, these are what ships go here, these are some of the races. He knows some of what's going on, and that gives him an advantage with that knowledge. And he's not trying to become rise beyond just being a cargo ship runner to be this great officer. And of course, Dr. Phlox, who came along for the ride primarily at first because he knew the Klingon physiology when they were bringing him home, but stuck around because he liked being around the humans that is just the nicest guy you will ever meet. And I love that.
Yep.
Except if you wake him up from his nap early, then he gets cranky.
Yeah, the doctor is awesome. I like the doctor.
Dr. Phlox is awesome.
But yeah, like I said, the crew is just a likable crew. The series one, we did a great job of setting the tone for it starting off. Like as it progresses, it'll become more Star Trek-ish.
Yeah.
But that's kind of wonderful. It's just a cool show. Yeah, there's some inconsistencies with previous established stuff, but you're gonna get that with how many episodes there's been.
Yeah.
And you get that with inherently you get that with any prequel.
That's true. It's true.
More on
Like
prequels on Wednesday. But but yeah, like I said, basically it's just a cool little what you got. You know what I mean? It's just a cool show, and I know so many people when it came out like, oh, it's not Star Trek because its music's different or it's not called Star Trek. Yeah, but it's called Enterprise, and it's got that great song, Faith of the Heart, which some people don't like, some people do. It's polarizing, that song.
It is.
But it's basically, to me, that song's about hopeful. It's about looking forward to the future. I mean, hell, if you want to be technical, even the fucking opening credits has some sort of paradoxical error.
It does.
The ship it shows called Enterprise in space is actually a real ship in space, but it's named after the TV show Star Trek. So that's the only reason it's called Enterprise, which means by showing it, it's acknowledging the fact that that's a thing. However, people don't give a shit. It's the first Enterprise. Fuck it. I'm like, I don't care. It's about hope. It's about journey of mankind, and it's about going forward. Which that's brilliant.
Exactly. It's about humanity's urge to explore, to find out more, to seek out new life and new civilizations. And so starting from the earliest days of being able to have sailing ships on the seas, to initially breaking out into Earth's orbit, to being able to go within the system, to the first Warp 5 capable ship of the Enterprise, NX-01.
Yeah, it's like with the characters, like I mentioned to Paul. The easiest thing in the world would be to think she was like some people have if she was just a female Spock. On the surface, that's true. She's in the
Yeah.
same role as him.
Yes.
When you watch more episodes, you see she's actually a really different character because she's full Vulcan. Even though,
Yeah.
in my opinion, she acts more Romulan at times. That's neither here
So
nor there.
occasionally she does. Yeah.
However, she's played brilliantly, and she's just this strong Vulcan that's all about the logic. Like Spock would at least bond with the crew, would like at least laugh around and talk a bit. Well, not laugh, you know what I mean? Laugh around, talk a bit with Kirk and Bones and stuff. T'Pol's not really that type yet.
No.
She's more the hard-ass Klingon, and I like that.
She is, but she knows how to,
Not Klingon, Vulcan.
yeah. But she's starting to learn as she's being around the humans. And it was even noted to her. There's an episode where they meet a ship full of Vulcans who are embracing their emotions. Granted, one of them kind of fucks with her mind with a half fucked up mind meld. But she kind of learns that she can embrace her emotion. Being around humans has made her a little bit more emotionally resonant than most Vulcans. And she starts to realize over time that she's kind of becoming more like the crew, kind of bonding with them as she's been around. There's even an episode where she has to make a decision about whether to go back to Vulcan for an arranged marriage or stay on the Enterprise. And she has a conversation with Tucker about this because he accidentally read her mail. And, she ends up pointing out, maybe you're coming more like us than you think, and you don't want to go through with this, and you want to stay here. And she ends up doing that.
Yeah, like I loved the little joke bit with that at the end on one of the episodes when Archie just finally says, "Fine, you know what? Yeah, you know what? You want to disagree with my orders? Fine, go ahead, catch up to him. You can still make it." And she's like, "No, I can't. I can't violate my doctor's orders."
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm just like, "Oh, that's wonderful."
Yeah, and then her character's just grown and developed so much, and she knows, she's not completely so out of touch with emotions. She doesn't know how, how the emotions are affecting others and how to use that sort of thing. When she seems just a little bit too emotional for a Vulcan at certain times. When she sees, crew members in danger and cares about their well-being, or that one time when there's one of those continuity hiccups of, despite they're not supposed to have been met yet, the Ferengi show up and invade the ship, and she seduces one of them to lure him into a false sense of security.
To be fair, she did that logically because she knew it would trick him because she understands emotions. They just don't have them. She understands a little bit. But to be fair, they weren't supposed to meet the Ferengi. However, they didn't really know what they were. They just came on board and left. It's not like they met their race and understood about them. So it's entirely possible.
True, except Archer goes out of the way to say Starfleet Command and the Vulcan High Council are both, gonna let them know to stay, to go nowhere near our ships ever again, or they're gonna be in trouble. So clearly, somebody high in government contacted the Ferengi homeworld and the Grand Nagus and told them about this. But it's entirely possible that order, being that high up, was probably kept classified for the purposes of, if nobody knows about the Ferengi, they're not going to go seeking them, and it's less of a problem. So
Plus, it might just be one of those things that they've told them to stay out, but they didn't really make what they consider contact. Like we've had it in Star Trek before now, where first contact, it's a Vulcan, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's been Star Trek episodes where you find out there's other races that visited Earth before the Vulcans. They just didn't contact or make themselves known as well.
True. Like the time the Ferengi crashed in Roswell.
So it's one of those things of, well, we don't need to explain it too much because they didn't make a peace with the Ferengi. They just basically said, "Oh, stay out of our yard, you."
Basically. And that was just a fun episode, just to see the Ferengi misunderstand, to see the Enterprise crew trying to play along with what the Ferengi thought to trick them. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Archer was brilliant when he kept tricking that dumb one.
Yeah,
He ended up taking over the ship.
Who's played by Jeffrey Combs, who played the Andorian.
Yeah, but I really did like that. That was cool.
Yeah, and then like him and Trip started that play argument. Trip's like, "No, leave the females. I'm not gonna let you take my wife. Her name's Hoshi." And then Archer plays on the don't you take him anywhere near that vault, or I'll throw you in the brig for insubordination.
Yep.
And then they do a trick. That was great.
It is worth noting they did say if the series had continued past 4, we would have seen the birth of the Federation.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get to see the birth of the Federation, unfortunately, in the series, but it's still cool that they're planting seeds, so it'll grow into it.
Oh yeah, totally. But it's not great. That's the other weird thing about that Ferengi episode is the Ferengi captain was Neelix. That was weird. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yep. Like that, I like that episode, and I like I said, I really do like the Sullivan. About they look a little. Their makeup isn't perfect, or because it's makeup CGI. That's the only thing that dates them a little bit.
Yeah,
But you got the cool. Ooh, who's the hologram person?
yeah,
So you got a little mystery. You got a little bit of sci-fi and stuff. And it's just
yeah.
wonderful.
Speaking of Hunter, that was another great episode where they found the crashed ship and they were trying to fix it. It turned out all the crew except the engineer and his daughter were holograms.
Hmm.
And the engineer was Rene Bourgeois. It was Odo. That's awesome.
Yep. And like that, I just really do like that. It's cool. And it's yeah, like we said, like their uniforms. If you notice, which you did, because I mentioned that to you before you even watched it. Of like Archer has the gold, like Kirk does on his uniform. Each one has a different color for the stripes,
Yep.
and
I mean,
that's just cool. And yes, I totally stole that. As since Jim mentioned it earlier, I used STO, and I did have the Enterprise ship at one point. I did buy the NX designation, and I did use the Enterprise uniforms.
nice.
Then they evolved into the Rafa Khan uniforms, into the Jupiter uniforms so far.
Nice.
And it's my own Jupiter uniforms because you get four in there, so I mix bits of each and change the colours. So I have a patch there on the arm which designates colour based on the original series is, but the colour scheme of the costume is based more on Picard's red
Nice.
uniform. So it feels modern and classic. I like that.
That's cool. I like that. I have to see those.
And yes, I was nerdy enough to do that.
We're
I'm
doing a
nerdy enough.
review
I
of
just want
Star
to get
Trek.
an office.
That delineates in and of itself that we're nerdy enough to do that.
Yeah, but I'm nerdy enough when I make my new offices. They have to have the right color for their stations and stuff too.
Oh, I did the same thing on my crews. I'll normally come up with an overall crew color scheme, which being me normally involves red, black, and gold. And
Oh
then
no, no, I mean the rank color.
no, that's what I mean. I'll normally start off with a base uniform of red, black, and gold that fits all the crew, but I'll designate one portion of the uniform, whatever it happens to be, and that portion will be colored based on the rank, the positioning of the crew. And if it interferes with another color that I already have on there, then I'll make adjustments. So I'll usually try to keep black around it. And like a lot of times, what I did with a lot of them was I took the what was it? What I do? Although my primary character on the PC version, James Phoenix, I believe I have the uniforms of those crews set up in such a way where they all have black on most of the uniforms and then red on the shoulders, and then the color of the undershirt determines it shows their department.
Nice. Yeah, I did like I said, the red and black, so it looks like the more famous modern-ish uniform everyone knows. Mixed the color classic ones together, and yes, I did do like Enterprise did, where if they've got the same color there, which is red, and that bit's red, I made it a different shade of red, but I also put a stripe down their pants to show the colors a little bit more.
That's a good idea.
But yeah, that's neither here nor there. That's
No,
STO.
that's
But
not. Yeah,
yeah,
that's irrelevant. We'll get there.
I was just
But
saying
yeah,
I liked the uniforms and the ship, even the ship design of this. It's cool. It's like someone took the original Enterprise ship and just condensed it down to its base components of just the saucer and just the engines.
yeah. Yeah, but so far the series has been really great so far. I look forward to watching the other three seasons. Like we said, we're going to review one each month. So this is about end of September. So we'll review the next one sometime around the end of October. That will be our only of course, next month, October, will be our Goosebumps month for Halloween. So the Star Trek will be probably our only non-Goosebumps review next month.
Maybe,
Maybe.
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 And it said it depends because we're going to be doing the Goosebumps month, but I may have other reviews. Like I may be doing a game review, like 2K17, for example.
All right, good point. I forgot about that.
I kind of want to do that, but since you don't, that's cool.
Very funny.
No, I'm kidding. You'll be there for that, and we'll be doing the best of 7 Let's Plays with that.
Yes, that'll be fun.
And even after that, we can still keep Let's Playing. It'll be fun.
Yeah, definitely. So stay tuned for a lot of great stuff next month. But yeah, so that was a look at season 1 of Star Trek Enterprise. Also, I should credit whoever designed these DVD boxes. These are awesome, by the way. It just
They are.
pops open like that. You can take this out, and then it's got the cool design there, the logo, and you can slide that off. It's got the book right here, and then this just flips out like this. Very cool side. So whoever designed that, great job on that.
They did. And I will say it's a shame this series ended where it did. There was rumors like a year ago or so that Netflix might revive it,
Hmm.
but based on the fact they're doing a new Star Trek show, it won't happen now
Yeah, unfortunately.
because they don't want to tell people, "Oh, go subscribe to Netflix and ours." They want theirs to
Yeah,
be a competitor in the streaming market.
yeah. And the other thing
Maybe,
about that, yeah, but the other
maybe
thing about that
their
is
channel will revive Enterprise.
maybe, but we do know that the new show that they're putting out is going to be taking place in between Enterprise and Kirk's era, about halfway. So that should hopefully there'll be some throwbacks to Enterprise there, and we'll see a little bit more about that.
We're gonna see Captain Archer get a bridge dropped on him
Hmm.
in the
Yes,
crossover movie.
yes.
That's something that's a shame. The new series can't get movies
Yeah, probably not. As long as they're making
unless
Amos
they're
movies, they're
made
not going to
unless
want to
they're
spend money
made for
on both.
TV movies. Yeah, unless they're made for TV movies, because otherwise you're gonna confuse people between that
Yeah.
and the Star Trek Beyond style movies.
Yep.
But that's neither here nor
Yeah.
there, because to be fair, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and Enterprise didn't get movies.
Yeah, which sucked. Deep Space Nine at least should have had a movie.
Enterprise should have had a movie to wrap it all up.
I could agree with that.
Because its ending, more on that when we get to season 4, is bullshit.
Fair enough.
But yeah, like I said, I really do like this series. It's maybe I always get torn when I rate them between Deep Space Nine and Enterprise, which is my favorite. I think Deep Space Nine wins a little bit, but it's close. I really do like Enterprise.
Yeah, I agree. I really like this, but DS9 is still my favorite series. I agree. But yes, so it's been a look at season 1 of Enterprise. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next month to look at season 2. And of course, these DVDs are available now if you want to watch a series, and you can also find the entire series available on Netflix.
Yep. Take
Bye.
care.
Peace.